Coming to you from the Strings and Things studio in Ventura, California, I'm Anne.
I'm Karen.
I'm Katie.
And this is the Strings Unraveled Book Club. Hello.
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 How are you guys?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, very good. I am pretty good.
Good.
Looking forward to
Yeah.
2023.
I'm looking. I don't actually like the new year, but I like ending the year we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the new year fills me with a little anxiety.
I can see that. Yeah, we're recording this, what is it, December 15th. So we are like barreling to the end of the year right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a new thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
Nope. And that's where the anxiety comes.
Oh, okay, I get that.
But as far as books go, I look back and I go, dang, I read a lot of books this year.
Good.
Yeah, I should look at my numbers. I have a list somewhere, but yeah.
Okay, since I started today, I'm going to do the ritual I like, which is what are you working on while we talk about your books?
Oh, I chose this project because I can't talk about it.
Ah!
Because I forgot that we do that. So I'm working on something I can't talk about.
Yep, but I like that answer.
Yeah.
It
You
looks
just have
fun.
to wait and see.
I can see it.
I can tell you, but I
Yeah.
can't tell the internet.
No, maybe in January you'll
Maybe.
tell us about it.
Maybe February.
Oh, all right.
What are you working on?
I am still working on my family stockings, which if you listen to our regular podcast, you know all about, and we'll talk about. Hopefully, I'll be done when we talk next time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess then I have something to talk about. I guess I am crocheting another sample of the Juniper Cowl, which is the all crochet puff stitch. It's puff stitch all day long. I love it because you're just doing puff stitch around and around and around in a spiral. And the pattern was written for mini skeins, but instead I have one big 873 yard. Am I right? 800. Oh, sorry, I lied. 842 yards of Dolce Cashmere.
And that's the yummy stuff from Hobie.
It's wool polyamide, which is a fancy word for nylon, and 10% cashmere. But that 10% goes a long ways. You don't need much more than that.
Yeah, the 10% is always just enough to keep it affordable and make it feel good.
I had 2 of these balls because I couldn't decide which color I wanted more, and I thought I'm like, so they became stashed because they were bought with no purpose. And I started with one that goes from this, like, what do you call this color up top?
Current.
Sure.
Okay.
Persimmon.
Maybe. Oh, it moves into like a persimmon for sure. That goes into all the way down to a grape.
It's a tone down of the new color of the year from Pantone, which is called Crush.
Yeah, so this is a muted
No.
crush. No?
That's Kona's color of the year. Pantone's color of the year is called Viva Magenta.
I always get those mixed up.
Yeah.
But they're very similar.
This is closer to Crush.
Not every year are they similar.
No, they are very similar this year.
Yeah.
So this is like a muted pink rust. I don't know, like a...
It's a pretty color.
Yeah, it goes into...
Strawberry jam. The frothy part of strawberry jam.
It's a weird color.
It's a weird color.
But it's lovely. Yeah.
It has this one pop of salmon or persimmon or whatever you want to call it, I guess. And then it goes back into muted tones where it's almost like a terracotta going into like pinky purples to a darker purples, still all muted. But I don't quite have enough for this one, but I have a second ball that is like beiges and greens going into a purple. So I'll take the very end of that purple to finish this off. But
I just think it's a fun little visual treat or non-visual auditory tour of what we're working on while we talk.
It's just a puff stitch.
I mean, we're all working on something while we talk about books, so yeah, why not?
So our book this month was my selection. It's Small Angels, a novel by Lauren Owen. I found a little longer synopsis on Goodreads, which I think is also the publisher's synopsis. As a teenager, Kate found... A wedding in a small English village attracts a malicious spirit, forcing deep secrets to surface. A hypnotic tale of sisterhood, first love, and hauntings.
Yeah, that's like the blurb, right?
Yeah. As a teenager, Kate found a safe harbor with her parents' constant fighting in the company of the four Gone sisters, who lived with their strict grandparents next to Small Angels, a church at the edge of dense green woods. The first outsider to ever get close to the sisters, Kate eventually learned the family secret. The woods are home to a capricious, menacing ghost whom generations of Gones had been charged with stopping from venturing into the village itself. But as the sisters grew older, braver, and more independent, bucking against the family's burden, the bulwark began to crack, culminating in a horrifying act of violence that drove a terrible wedge between the sisters and Kate. Chloe has been planning her dream wedding for months. She has the dress, the flowers, the perfect venue, Small Angels, a charming old church in the village where her fiancé Sam and his sister Kate grew up. But days before the ceremony, Chloe starts to hear unsettling stories about Small Angels, and worse, she begins to see, smell, and hear things that couldn't possibly be real. Now Kate is returning home for the first time in years, for Sam and Chloe's wedding. But the woods are coming alive again, and Kate must reconnect with Lucia, the most troubled of the sisters and her first love, to protect Chloe, the village, and herself. An unforgettable novel with memories that hold us back and those that show us the way forward. This is storytelling at its most magical. Enter Small Angels if you dare.
Ooh. Spooky.
Yeah. So it's, what'd you guys think of this?
I loved it. I had a great time reading this book.
All right.
I put markers
I
in pages.
love that.
Anne's daughter made these wonderful
book
markers that were folded, and I put them to use in this book so I would remember where certain passages and stuff was. Yeah.
I love about those little heart. They're an origami pattern bookmark with a little heart, and so it's like a little pull tab for you to, or a file folder tab to go back to where you are.
No need to dog ear your pages.
Anyway, they're cute.
Anyway, yeah.
Be jealous of Taryn's bookmarks.
I loved it.
You loved it. I also really, really enjoyed it, which was a little funny to me because I don't usually read any reviews, but I know, Katie, you go looking for
there
reviews.
There was a common review with this one.
I didn't look at any reviews for this
one.
Well,
I only saw one, so I'd be interested to hear what your assessment of the reviews was, which the first one was, this was boring. I was so bored. Nothing happened. I'm like, what are you talking about? You were bored. Did you read the same book?
Yeah.
The first 100 pages to 150 pages was as the comments went along were slow. But then once it picked up, no one could put it down.
I didn't think it was
I didn't
slow.
feel that way at all.
No.
I did not feel like it was slow.
It was
I felt
very engaging from the start.
I thought so.
No.
I know that it's difficult when you're telling a story of different time periods and in different voices.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe because I was doing the audible book with it,
maybe
that I didn't have that problem that other people.
I thought she did a pretty good job of balancing multiple different timelines and points of view in the story. I thought it was, and I also like that there's two stories going on, right? Yes. You could tell the story of the sisters, or you could tell the story of the wedding.
Yes.
Right? But if you had just told the story of the sisters growing up, that would also have been a good book.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Like, you could have started there, but then she frames it with this secondary narrative device that was really great. I really liked it.
Yes. I'm so excited because when you said it was, Katie and Karen both got way into this book before I did, although it was my choice.
Yeah.
Katie, when you said that it was scary, I was like, oh no.
No, not scary.
Okay. Well, it was suspenseful. It was mysterious. It was spooky.
It had all the best parts of a gothic novel without being horror.
No, yes. It was that's what I had it on when I was taking Mirabella from point A to point B. I hate this time of year. It's so busy. But I didn't want to miss time that I could listen. And really, there's nothing so adult in this book. No. Because she's like, what is this? What is going on? And I'm like, there's nothing that I wouldn't... She's 11, that I wouldn't...
Yeah, it's not salacious or anything. No.
Totally fine if you want to listen
Very
to
PG.
this. Yeah, she's got our Audible sign in. She's like, oh, okay. And I think she's going to love it.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
What do you think about the different... I like the way she set the different characters, but one of my favorite characters was Mock Baker itself.
Ah.
The forest itself, because it's alive, it may not speak, but it makes its will known.
Yeah.
In many ways. So I thought that was really interesting.
I think that it's clear, it's a definite main character. Totally agree.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I like it because it leaves me so uneasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which only adds to its like the authenticity of it being another living character alongside the people, is that it seems to have like the same motivations, the same, you know.
It has a favorite son that it wants to protect and wants to keep with it all the time, telling stories. Anyway.
When would you there were no actual book club
I look for
questions for this. I looked, and then it kept taking me to this other author whose name is Lauren.
I saw that too, which is
Owens.
completely a different person.
And even when I searched specifically this book title, just Lauren Owens. But anyway, Lauren Doyle Owens' book sounds kind of interesting from those book club.
Okay. Future podcast episode.
So I we can kind of bounce around. Like what Karen's shared her favorite character. Did you have a favorite character, Karen? Or Katie? Whatever your name is.
What's your name? My name is Katie, and my favorite character was Kate.
What?
No, I don't know if I had necessarily a favorite character. I did find
Hector.
Yeah, Hector was pretty great. I found Kate's storyline pretty compelling.
Yeah.
Chloe's story was the spookiest,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I liked when we were hearing from her perspective, because she was sort of like us in the story, because we're also getting introduced to this world as she is. So those passages were fun to listen to. But yeah, I don't know if I had necessarily like a favorite character, but I like the different perspectives that you got.
What were you going to say, Karen?
Okay, so Chloe was like, I know nothing about this town, and I'm
going to pick this penny out of this spooky bush.
I'm just going to... Oh, yeah, that's right. She sets the whole spookiness apart. If she had just left...
Well, but she's under the assumption, like everybody else in the world is, that ghosts aren't real.
Yeah.
So, of course, you would find this cute little church in this quaint little town that your husband grew up in and be like, I want to get married there.
Isn't it cute?
She doesn't know anything else.
And whose fault is that? That's her husband's. Her husband, but her fiance, who kind of knew it, but kind of didn't. Because he was really little, and his sister Kate sort of protected him.
How pissed would you be if you guys... She had 18 months to plan this wedding. It said somewhere in there.
Yeah.
That the week before the wedding, when you've both taken off work, you've drawn out this timeline.
He never took off work, did he?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just like, Chloe, you're a saint, or you're going to be divorced in 5 years.
I think the overarching theme of this book I was thinking about, or like the lesson that this book wants you to learn, is to talk about things.
Yeah.
So it's like untold stories, or like unshared trauma, or like the whole point of like the villagers is like they let the Gons take care of it. We don't talk about it. We pretend like that's not there.
Yeah.
We ignore it.
We don't talk about what's that movie?
Oh, we don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about
don't talk about Mock Baker.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Mock Baker.
But it's true. The
Too many
problems would
syllables.
have been solved earlier if you had just talked about it, right?
Fun.
So it's like we don't talk about, like the parents don't talk about their marriage problems, right?
Yeah.
The sisters don't talk about like, whatever it is. The grandma doesn't talk to if the girls wouldn't have done all the things that they had done if the grandma had told them why she does the things that she does.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole theme of the book is like, tell people things.
I was trying to find the passage where the Gons are known for this wine that they make.
Yes.
Right? This kind of liqueur wine thing.
Yes.
But I was trying to find the passage where Nan finally says why their wine is so great and all the sacrifices and how smart a businesswoman she was by making a deal with Mock Baker, and to do all this other stuff, and they would give her good harvest.
I don't think that Mock Baker had to do with it because it wasn't in the woods. I think she found that opportunity to to help the
but she,
family.
there is something where she knows if she appeases,
yeah.
if she appeases Harry,
yeah, she does ask him or go tell him that this is what she's doing.
Mock Baker does influence the climate of the town,
right?
But Harry is its favorite child. It caters to his whims,
right? Because they are separate.
Yeah,
it's easy to tie them together into one entity, but they are separate.
Yeah. But so if Harry's happy with the deal, Mock Baker's going to support it.
They're going to be happy. Yeah.
Were the ghost dogs his to control or Mock Baker's to control? Because they only seem to come out certain times.
They were his.
They were Harry's to. But I was kind of hoping when what's her name? When Lucia is locked in the room on the night of the funeral.
And she's looking out the
window.
And
she leans against this coat and she figures out that it's Fred?
Yeah.
Fred's coat. And she pulls the things out and they're warm.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted Fred to have secretly been the malicious spirit or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have necessarily been as rich because Harry's multiplicity of depth of a spirit.
Kind of a child, kind of an angry adult.
Right. The rage and anger of a violent death, being robbed of life, but yet the presence of this sweet child still, or this petulant child, the multiplicity of identity, I think is rich for Harry. But when that was happening, I kind of want, because that would like the dogs were never Harry's to control,
right?
Or,
yeah. I was sort of waiting for another twist.
Yeah.
At some point, I was like, maybe Lucia's a ghost. But this was before we got too far into it, and I was like, but then I was like, well, that couldn't have worked. But
I like that you thought that, because when she appears on the scene, so conveniently,
right,
in Mock Baker, she's
like, she's been away, now she's back, and I'm like, is she a ghost?
Yeah.
Does only Kate see her?
Yeah, because
we didn't know what happened,
right?
So then, only Kate is being haunted by Fred.
No.
Help me.
No.
That's Chloe.
Chloe
is being...
Oh, Chloe. Yeah. Sorry, not Kate. Chloe. So Chloe is being haunted because she's staying in Fred's old room.
Yeah.
Do you think over the span of time, other people have stayed in that room and been haunted from it?
Yeah,
and nobody just...
People don't talk about it.
Yeah. We don't talk about it. One of the other comments that I heard, if I could say so, is that most people thought that Kate was boring, but I didn't think she was boring. I thought that parts of Kate were quiet and reserved. She went through this trauma, and she doesn't even fully understand what happened because
she didn't remember it.
She doesn't remember a lot because she kind of was out of it. But
her memory was erased.
So some people thought that she wasn't interesting. I thought she was very interesting, but a very crucial bridge in the storytelling, because it's only because of Kate that we are connected to.
Yes.
And one of the things the author did was she would give you little snippets or little parts of a scene, but not fully in the timeline. And then later on, I felt like she would revisit. You got to get a little more meaning. She would flesh out the scene a little better.
She did a really good job of plant and payoff and telling you little bits at a time that you were like, I want to know what's going to happen. Yes. But then we would shift focus over here. And then, I never felt, that was very well done.
But she had so much. I never felt robbed. She didn't tell me enough. I felt it's going to come. It's going to come.
Everything was is tied back together.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
I was just thinking of
rose vines.
Oh. I was thinking of a good example is right off the bat when Lucia touches the scars on her neck.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucia's tied to this feature we didn't even know.
Right.
What is that going to be? And so that was one of the things that carried on of are we ever going to explain the scars? Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
They kept alluding to her sister's death, but I kept waiting when are they going to tell us? And then when they I was
crying. I kind of, I'm satisfied with why Sam was so upset with the Woods awakening. But I kind of was wondering if he was going to be tied to Elphine. That maybe he had... Because I thought at some point they said something about there being a boy interested in one of the other girls.
Yeah, I know that they had mentioned that they would like run off and have trysts with other boys in the community, but that wasn't really a
so I wanted that to be like Sam loved Elphine, and he's been like,
oh yeah,
sad about
no,
this
I think
forever.
that they're just unhealthy coping mechanisms and blocking things out.
Yep. No, but I'm just as happy though with like a devoted little brother.
Yes.
Being scared of losing his sister, but he can't express that.
Right. No.
And I love...
It's very British.
Yes. But Chloe's so healthy. Yeah. She's like, let's tell everybody.
I want to know
the right
the story. Yeah.
I gotta say, I think I love Elphine. Because no matter, even in death, she was still looking out for her sister.
Mm-hmm. There was very much like Little Women vibes where she was the best.
Yes.
So she was definitely best. Yes.
So... I was totally
Little Women, but that's totally it.
Slightly more oppressive than Little Women.
Yes, not as,
because Ma is not, oppressing them.
Right.
Society is.
Right.
Nan. Yeah.
No, I mean in Little Women.
Yeah.
Isn't she Ma? Is that right? Or no?
Yeah, Ma. In Little Women.
I think you've read it most recently.
I haven't. I'll have to think about it.
Doesn't matter. But at some point, that's one of the books. Because one of the healing things is to read from a good, well-known story. And they do pull Little Women off the shelf.
Yeah.
I think that's Elphine's most favorite. Book. And she tears a page of it and eats it so that
Marmee.
Thank you.
Marmee.
I knew that wasn't right.
Yeah.
Ma. No, I'm like, it's not Marmee.
But it's not mother.
No.
Much sweeter than that. So Elphine eats a part of Little Women
to have it with her
always. So it'll be
So that I was like so satisfied. When that moment happened. Yeah.
And Lucia is Jo.
Yep.
And the other two are sort of interchangeable in my mind.
Yeah. Just like in Little Women, the other two.
I mean, not really, because Amy.
There's no Amy.
Yeah. Well, Ruby is a good representation of the oldest. Like, I mean, they're not that dimensional in Little Women as they are. No. Like Ruby and Helena are not that dimensional. Yeah. I mean, they get a little fleshed out when they come back. Yeah. And we get that like
but
real
they
adult.
are sort of, they're both older sisters.
Yeah.
They were sort of interchangeable to me.
Yeah. So we are organically going through this list of questions, which is which event in the story causes all the others? There's two. There's Chloe helping pick the pennies out, right?
Not knowing there's a purpose behind it.
And then there's the bigger story of Harry Child's creation and mythology. So Harry Child being murdered by his brother.
But there's a special connection with Lucia because of the way she was born.
So there's an inciting event for every layer in history.
Because Lucia she's there with her sisters, but she is also separate.
Born in the woods, just
because
like
she is there. That being born in the woods, being born separate, in a very another way that they don't talk about.
Yeah,
it sets her apart in the way she's treated by Nan, the way she's. I kind of like her grandpa, but he doesn't. I don't know that he really is very effectual in the story.
I think her apartness is exaggerated by herself. I do think Nan treats her differently, but Elphine tells her to tell her story differently because she's not Lucia the Bad. Yeah. You just have to frame it differently, right?
Yeah.
And so, Nan knew that she was different, right? And so she might have put more limitations on her than her sisters. Because she knew that she had the potential to run off and do bad things. But she's not. She calls herself Lucia the Bad the whole time.
Yeah.
Do you think because she's
like yourself first if you're going to love anyone else, right?
Do you think Nan did that because it's often they're afraid that the child will behave like the mother?
I don't know that it's. Well, maybe because the mother tried to run off.
Yeah,
and that's why Nan's like
have to stay tied to.
You know what happens when you run away.
So maybe Nan's like being hyper protective, hyper,
so much so it's
hyper correcting. Yeah,
I was kind of hoping that we were going to have a reveal that Nan had also shared a childhood with Harry, but she married into the family.
She was a married in.
Right. Yeah. But at one point I was like, oh, well, maybe she was like. treats Lucia the way she does because she experienced the same
She
thing.
is a child of abuse, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, your instincts are right. It just wasn't tied together the way you imagine. So, I mean, she had a childhood of abuse, though.
Mm-hmm.
And the keep your head down, don't address it was her survival
We don't talk
method.
about Bruno.
Yeah. Don't get in Dad's face. Just get out.
Yeah.
And then we've already kind of, is this book based on a classic story? I don't think it's based on a classic story, but it definitely has an homage to that vibe and that interplay in a household.
Yeah.
Because every household is a closed system, even if you're not as isolated as the Gons are.
Yeah.
Because we are our own little, unit. Was there a simple solution to the problems in the book?
Not
I don't
necessarily.
know.
No.
I mean, a lot of the problems could have been lessened by talking about it, right?
Yes.
So that would be
Like maybe
simplified, but
Chloe
no.
would have never gone into the woods.
It was complicated. Right. If her husband had, fiance had told her, there's something weird going on in my town, and there's some reason why people don't go to that church, and why people say the woods are haunted. I don't know exactly what they are, but I'm not comfortable getting married
But
there.
one time my sister almost died.
Right. And she can't remember what happened to her, so maybe we shouldn't get married there.
Can we stay in London?
Yeah, exactly. That would have been
So
a
that
simple
was
solution to
the
that problem.
So, Sam and Kate's parents are Bill and Bertie.
Yes.
It seems to me that older Bill and Bertie are different people now that the kids are grown and they're getting married than when the kids were little. And we are sort of, because they seem like Mr. and Mrs. Hospitality, which I don't know if they were that way before. When we talk about how things could have been different, well, gee, if the village had been different when at the funeral, I mean, think about it. The villagers were all happy to go up there to gawk anytime there was a death, but other than that, they never really. I just think, the coulda, woulda, shoulda of the story is like if any one of these factors had been different,
then we wouldn't have gotten here to start with. But
no,
but let's look at it as in we're in it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think there's a simple solution because it's such a contrived
complicated
situation, and there's so much. Like, everyone's buy-in to the situation is a little different.
What if they just put a plaque that says "Commemorable pennies, don't touch"? This tourist attraction is protected. Please don't touch it.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell people why.
Well, I mean, she was told not to go in the woods.
That's true,
right?
But he didn't.
But you need a little bit more
child,
info, right?
Yeah, he treated her like a child. We don't go in there. It's not a national trespass.
That's not for you. Don't go in there.
Yeah. Well, tell me why.
Yeah,
she's obviously like an intelligent, inquisitive.
Well,
woman,
when she heard the first spot of ghost stories, it didn't scare her. It made her more curious.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, whoa, I want to see this.
This question we've really kind of addressed, or it's too big. We'll get there as we go. What is the book's climactic scene? How did the author build up to it? I mean, everything is a mountain to the peak of this.
Right.
When on the wedding day, Lucia's in the grasp of Harry Child. He has her almost taking her own life.
Yeah.
The sisters are there at exactly the right moment. Like, that's magic in its own. Mm-hmm. Did a bat signal go up?
Yeah.
Like, is it, what did they have an image of the dog on their wine label?
Yeah.
Is there a dog?
Yeah, there's a dog in the sky.
Oh, I see it off yonder.
I never thought about that. The dogs are on the wine label.
Yeah. I think we don't hear that until they're sharing the bottle of wine at the very end. Everything, all three of the timelines that we're learning about or have learned of are all culminating to this climax, which, there's a lot of stories told in that backwards forwards way, mm-hmm. or coming from the, two ends.
Right.
This one, I think, three timelines is hard to me. Two timelines is hard, but when you point out, really, there's three timelines being told, and to do it so very well.
Mm-hmm. that they all culminate in the same time.
Yeah.
It is exactly like the rose vines that swallow the house.
Yeah.
They all play.
And they build a structure,
they
around
play.
it.
She did such a great job of twining this together in a way that never left you wanting. It really was like, okay, we're getting a little more of this and a little more of that. Oh, that makes sense. But what, it's, I got fed just enough of what I want
to keep you engaged.
Yeah.
Does the book ending resolve the plot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It all works
Very
out.
well.
Everybody's happy. And it's not insipidly sweet ending.
No.
But it's...
Even the donkey didn't get killed. I was so afraid that they were going to find the remains of the donkey.
He's a horse.
Is he a horse?
Hector's a horse.
Hector's a horse. But he kind of is like a pack horse. Like
he's a sweet, big, lumbering horse. Yeah. Yes. So I get how you get a donkey vibe. But
I was just so afraid that they're like, oh, they're going to come across his remains. The dogs got to him. And there's...
Well, when he was inside the church,
okay.
I was most certainly very happy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, good, Hector's inside.
Hector's okay.
He's just standing in the church.
Yeah, John Ponce was like, I had to bring him inside.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, of course.
He's a member of this community.
Nobody's questioning that.
That's awesome.
I don't care if there's a horse in here.
Do you think the protagonist is a hero or a villain or somewhere in between? Well, which one's the protagonist?
I don't know.
They all enter. I mean, we can narrow it to 3.
I think you have 3.
4?
You got Kate, you have Lucia, and you have Chloe.
Yes. Is Harry's just a straight antagonist?
Yeah. And he's not the
but
main
not in the beginning.
character.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of his timeline, he was not a he was a victim.
Well, most villains' origin stories don't start with them
That's
being
true.
born a villain.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the villain.
I still felt sorry for him.
So we'll settle on the 3.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would say Lucia is
In her own
antagonistic.
mind. Yeah, in her own mind, she is a villain.
Yeah.
She's the monster. She's the one who caused this all.
Right.
Killed her
We know
grandpa.
she's going to save the day.
Yeah. Kate is clearly trying to do what's right through, love and kindness. And Chloe's just a girl trying to get married. She's not even a bridezilla. She's
No.
like, oh, there's a
She
tear
seems
in my
nice and
dress.
likable.
Huh.
Yeah.
And like, she ruins her veil in a night of hallucination.
Yeah.
Like, she never mentions the veil again.
Other than
Which is weird, because she is definitely a type A.
Yeah.
She has everything planned to the letter. Maybe that's her evolution.
Except, why did she wait till a few days before the wedding to start cleaning up the place?
Well, I imagine it's because they get everything done they want done. So I think it's just a sprucing up, sweeping,
Yeah,
dusting.
they don't live nearby.
Yeah.
What about the key?
And she took a whole week off of work to be like engaged in it. What the key is, let's explore symbolism. Are there any particular striking visual symbols used in the book? What do you think they represent? What do you think the key, I think, is like an anchor or a noose or
it's a heavy weight,
but ball and chain. Yeah.
And it's something that she can't let go. It has a little bit of a power over her because she's like...
And she says that it's hers. Like, the church is hers. Like, she paid for it. She rented it. It's her church, you know?
Somehow it is drawn to her to it, and it's not... Because she doesn't even want to give it up to someone else
to, like, unlock and go work for her when she's supposed to be resting. Yeah.
Some of it might appeal to her type A. Personality that wants to be in control.
She was ripe though for the the control issues. Just is the setting symbolic? If it is, what does it symbolize? I think it's a clear man versus nature.
Yeah,
that core conflict. And man has forgotten that nature. It's scared. Like the people of the village are scared, but they have become passive. Like in their assigning duty to the Gone family. Yeah. And they're not talking about how to share the burden.
But I like that some of the villagers have separated themselves when they say, I know that's how we did it before, but we're not comfortable with that burden continuing to be held by, we want to know her more. Speaking of Lucia, but very small number compared to, the rest of them. But anyway, what else?
This is the part I think Diane's talked about. I don't know if you thought it out this thoroughly, because both of you said you'd love to see this as a movie or a show. If you were making this book into a movie or a TV show, who would you cast in the lead roles?
Ooh, I didn't think about this.
No,
but
I didn't either.
I don't know people's names, so I am horrible for that.
I mean, from the British, general cast of characters, I'm sure we could cast it well.
Yeah.
Some cute ingenue for Chloe.
Yeah, she's blonde.
Yeah.
She's blonde. Do they call her blonde? Because
I don't think so.
I totally picture her as blonde.
Yeah, they talk about her blonde hair.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
no, she has... Oh, Lucia has red
dark hair. And,
yes.
Yeah,
Lucia
has red hair.
Yeah.
She could be Karen Gillian.
Yes.
Yeah.
She'd be perfect.
She's a little wild.
Yes.
Except I think she's a terrible actress.
I like her.
Yeah.
Lucia's almost one note.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, I think she could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who would be a good...
Yeah, I don't know.
A good Kate.
Recently.
You got to give us these assignments before we record, so we can come up with our answers.
Sometimes you've been picturing somebody.
Yeah, I
There've
haven't
been books
necessarily.
Where it's yes, this is exactly who I picture.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that this was a British book. The setting was in Great Britain or ish.
London's nearby.
Oh, see, that makes sense. That makes sense. For some reason, I pictured it also as old New England, because they have woods and they have a lot of spooky folklore,
and they call their cities townships and villages too sometimes. So
a Massachusetts or
England or New England.
Yeah. I could buy into that.
So it might open it to an American cast. Maybe Kate is an American coming over and marrying into this.
What would she do for
Chloe? Yeah.
What would she do for a living, Kate? Because I think what Kate does for a living is very European, which is restoring Gothic buildings.
Americans go over and do that.
Okay.
How many times do you watch House Hunters?
She could be
I watch House Hunters International.
Ooh.
You could dig up dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
Well, that would be Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care. We don't even know what Chloe does for a living.
No.
She's a city girl doing city jobs.
She's doing something.
What did Lucia do to support herself?
She says she just kind of does this and that. She works at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
She says fast food. She says eating or working. She says both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember
now. So I think she's just kind of
floating around.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are dropped into the world of this book for the day. How do you fare? The mist is all around.
Oh no, I don't.
You hear the growling of the dogs.
I'm dog chow. I am coughing up dirt.
Oh, poor Chloe.
Because my asthma right now, I'm feeling and how weird is that? You're coughing and all of a sudden there's earth coming out of your mouth.
Messed up.
Do
you think that was something from drinking the wine? It just turned.
Well, that wine did appear kind of mysteriously. Because it was Mock Beggar Bacchus that showed up in the chill box.
Yeah.
But I thought she chose it. She chose a case of that stuff.
No.
For the wedding.
It keeps appearing. She goes to serve at the garland party, which I think is a great idea, which is actually something we did do at my wedding, was I had my bridesmaids make their, it was a palm for their wrists. And we all got together and made them.
Yeah, we all made our bouquets too.
It's
the night before.
Yeah, that's great activity if you're a future bride.
My sister's wedding, we made these giant tissue paper pom-poms to hang in the trees. And it sounded like a great idea, except they were such a pain in the butt to make. And I'm the crafty one of the family, so I had to make all of them. I didn't have to, but it did seem like that.
You're the one who's working away still, and the other girls are drinking the wine and dancing.
I'm like Penny, nobody's helping me.
Keep it simple, done, ladies.
Yeah. No, the podcast that I listen to about horror movies, one of the things that they things they do is what would you do? So it's at some point you are so and so, what would you do? And one of them their answer is always, "Oh, I would kill myself to get out of this situation." So it's like, I don't think I would be useful at all. Like Karen said, I am dog chow. I don't know what I am doing.
Okay, I want to frame it differently then.
Yeah.
So you're dropped in the setting. You're not
Am
in
I
the
a wedding
world
guest?
of this book.
Who am I?
Well, let's say we're just passing through.
Okay.
You're taking your autumn tour of the English
I'm
countryside.
driving through the English countryside.
Maybe I'm the librarian.
But you've just been dropped in. So you're the new librarian. Elizabeth has retired.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the new librarian. You're replacing Elizabeth. You're driving through.
Okay.
You and James are on a dream vacation, checking out the English foliage.
Mm-hmm. Oh, damn. You know who I am? I'm the person who took the penny out. Oh, yeah.
I'm also
cool.
doing this. I'm like, oh, Katie, you went on a fun cruise, fun thing. I'm going to copy you now. Oh, okay, cool. Fun.
Anne and I are on vacation together.
I've always thought James
to visit
Kevin.
Karen at her new job.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
librarian, totally.
Winner. All right, this is the scene.
Okay.
Husbands are left home. Katie and I have come to visit Karen.
The librarian in Newtown for me.
Yes.
And I'm snooping and looking in all the old books and archives.
And you're
like,
like,
I want to know.
You, Karen, are like,
But
I
there are
found
no
this
archives.
Yeah, I found this really cool wooded path. And I want to take you guys through it.
It's a really cool old building. I want to work it.
It's a rosebush house.
That is so awesome. We gotta go.
And
look
there's
at
berries. I've eaten dozens of them.
Yeah, I just can't stop eating them.
They're so I made some
They're
jam.
so good.
And I love your jam. So I'm clearly taking that home if I survive the woods.
We want to find a path inside this rose shaped.
Okay, all right.
This
so
house
you're
shaped
leading
rose.
us
that I
into
am.
Mock Baker.
Oh my gosh, that would be me. I'm so sorry. I'd be killing us all.
How do we do?
I think we get lost and we eat ourselves silly on berries until Lucia shows up and makes us leave.
Just like Chloe.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think we fare about as well as
Wait. What
Except
happens?
I'm not a runner.
What happens when you hear snuffling of what sounds like big dogs? And you can't see them because it's misty, but you hear dogs.
I asked, do wolves still
Yeah. I'm
exist in
afraid of
England?
regular dogs. Like, I don't even... Ghost dogs, yeah. That's even scarier.
Well, Mock Baker's not going to try to scare us right away.
Yeah.
It's going to trap us. And then it's going to scare us.
Yeah, because I'm the new person.
So I'm
my nose
scared
in where it
already.
doesn't belong.
We're kind of cold because I don't think it ever gets warm in
English, period.
End of sentence.
But think what great sweaters we're gonna have a mock.
We're gonna be wearing
We're gonna have
sweaters.
mock Baker sweaters. I
I
want to make a mock Baker. I want to design a mock Baker sweater.
All that cabling
Write
of
that
intertwined.
Note to self:
vines.
design
I
a
love
mock
it.
Baker sweater.
I love it.
In your spare time.
Yeah.
Dirty words. So either we are short on time and we leave before it's dark, and we didn't eat any berries, or which actually that is a mythological reference. Like, isn't there something about eating something in the underworld and you get stuck down there?
Yeah. I was thinking about in that passage when we were in Ireland, we were walking along this little like path, and there are like blackberry brambles that grow along the side of the road. And my aunt's like picking them and eating them. Like she's like,
oh
yeah.
no.
She asks our tour guide first, like, can we eat these? Like they're blackberries, right? And he's like, yeah, you can eat as many as you want. Yeah. So she's like, we're walking around, she's snacking, and I didn't eat them because I was like, I don't know, I'm weirded out by it.
Well, in America,
I want to rinse off my berry.
Right. There's plenty of edible foods that grow in gardens, like landscape gardens, and there's plenty of edible things in people's gardens as well as plenty of poisonous things.
Right.
But like in my head, I've always thought like it's not safe to just go and eat that because you don't know what they're spraying.
So I'm not going to be eating the blackberries.
No. All right, so Katie's doing okay.
Yeah.
But she's still stuck with us schmucks who've been chewing.
Yeah.
It's up to Katie to save us.
Because
Karen led us down a bad path.
I would like to think that I'm pretty good in a crisis.
I think you'd be very good.
Did you pack a compass?
No, but I have my phone, but it probably actually doesn't
There's
work.
no cell coverage.
Chloe said that her phone was no good.
But I think your compass on your phone would work without service.
Maybe.
Oh,
I haven't tested
we would
that.
find
Is
out.
it an app?
What is Mock Baker's like? So it may be ghost or energy, right?
Oh,
so do they have a magnetic
Oh,
field
yeah.
to F
messing
your
with
compass?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I I can figure out which way the sun is setting, maybe. Oh, maybe you can't see
in the fog.
I guess the sun
and the
doesn't shine
thick trees.
Yeah.
in England. There is no sun.
All right. You're replacing Elizabeth. I'm going to counter now. Okay, you've replaced Elizabeth.
Yeah.
We are going to Mockbeggar.
Sounds like a drinking
in a
game.
time when the village knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about it openly.
This is post-book.
Yeah. And we're doing fine. Mockbeggar is beautiful.
Yes, we're allowed to visit as long as we tell a story.
We have the urge to start reciting poems or talking about our favorite books.
Yep.
And we have a lovely time. We enjoy the jam you made. And the
blackberry jam.
Delicious local fare that you packed.
Blackberry jam.
The big hunks of cheese and bread from the local
and the wine. We are having a beautiful time. And we go back to your place and we hang out by the fire and knit.
Knitting. That sounds awesome.
We did fine.
Yeah, we survived. You just have to put us in the right time frame.
Okay, I'm getting ideas for when we do our next business trip.
Yeah. Let's go to England. All right, nice. Or New England.
Or New England.
Yeah. I really want to go to Maine. That's where I want to see the next total eclipse that's passing through.
Oh, that would be cool.
The U.S. That was a fun question.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to remember that question for future questionnaires. Which of the characters in the book do you most relate to? Which would you want to invite for dinner and why?
I think I would probably relate to Chloe in that, like, she is the, like, everyman in the story, right? Mm-hmm. She, not necessarily her character, but who she represents in the story you can relate to the easiest, because she also doesn't know what's going on, and things are going to be slowly revealed to her until it's too late to, to have changed what you've already done, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd want to invite Lucia to dinner, but I don't know if she would be very good company. No, she's not going to tell me her story.
You could invite her.
Maybe
I'll
have Brian to come to dinner because he'll tell me his story.
Yeah. Brian would be awesome at dinner. I think I relate kind of to Lucia as the outsider, but I would not invite me to dinner.
Well, who would you invite to dinner then?
Probably a librarian. No, because she knows the inside.
She's not very forthcoming.
No,
when Chloe goes looking, she's
like,
we don't have that kind of information
because Chloe's an outsider.
She has a box.
Because Chloe's an outsider.
You might have been digging in the archives because Elizabeth left her box behind in the office because she's hoarding all that info.
Oh yeah. Okay, I know. I'm not sharing it with. If I'm Elizabeth, I'm not sharing it with others. But I'm gonna know what's happening. Well, she must share it with a few
with Brian and John.
Because that's how they know that they don't want to just keep things as the status quo anymore. Mm-hmm. So, what about you, Anne?
I relate to. I want to say I relate to Serafina. In like the mother parts because like that part where she says they're never gonna know what I did for them.
Yeah.
Which one's Serafina?
That's Nan.
Oh, Nan. I was gonna say Nan.
Well, because that's that thing of like the children never really understand your internal processes that you're like always trying to do the best for them, even if what you think is the best isn't really the healthiest and best. Yeah. Because Nan did do good by them.
She did.
But she also tied them to a life of like suffering and toil. And perpetuating the abuse cycle. And so that's like, I really appreciate that point of view of trying to do the right thing for your family. And they don't always understand your motivations. I would not invite her to dinner because, like Lucia, I think they're peas in a very grumpy pot.
Yeah, I don't think she would be very great company.
I would invite John to dinner because he seems jovial and like he'd help with the dishes after.
Oh yeah,
good point.
Or if Mr. Gone, what's his name?
Mr. Gone,
like Dad. Grandpa.
I don't even know. Oh, Grandpa.
Yeah,
not Dad.
No, he's a
doesn't even have a name.
Person.
Do we even know who the father was? Do you remember what of Lucia? I can't remember.
Yeah,
because
Lucia's father is Nan and Grandpa's son, and he
John,
does he die early on or something?
He dies after all of this happens.
Yeah, he's around
because he
for all
stays
of it.
with Nan till he dies, and then Nan stays there until she dies, which is close to the point of the wedding.
Right.
But he's just milquetoast.
See, I thought
he's reliable. He's always there to help Nan.
I thought everybody was gone long before the wedding, and that's why Lucia is the only one left to keep things going and run things.
Seraphina dies, and Lucia comes
Elfina,
back.
yeah.
No, Seraphina is Grandma. Nan.
Oh, Seraphina,
Nan,
Elfina,
sorry.
gotcha.
See? You're thinking of her as Nan, and I'm thinking of her as Seraphina.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed her storytelling. Because it was so...
I liked that chapter we had from her.
Yeah, it illuminates so much of like, oh, this is what the grown-ups understand is happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nan dies after the son. So son dies, Nan dies, Lucia comes back.
Yeah, but it's all within that space of 10 years from after Elphine's death.
That's the other thing is like, it's only been 10 years.
Yeah.
It feels like it's ancient history.
Right, but it's not. It's only 10 years.
Yeah. That's right, because...
they've been gone or whatever.
Because Kate's not that old.
No.
And Sam's not that old.
Yes.
That's right.
I think Lucia would be like 26, 27. If
yeah,
I'm
I was thinking that
right.
like Kate and them, yeah, I think they're like maybe 30.
Yeah. So yeah, I think John would help with the dishes, so he can come over, or Grandpa could come over because he seems sweet.
Yeah, he seemed nice.
Like he's not gonna share very many dinner time stories, but he's gonna like have that perfect zinger in the group conversation like that's just gonna like make us all roll on the floor.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions I feel like asking.
Nice. That's good.
This was a fun.
This was a really fun.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I think it's one of those that I'm gonna like, because I feel like I read a lot of books that I'm like, oh, I forgot I read that. But there are also some books that I've read that I think about. I'm like, oh yeah, that was good, or I remember more about them, or they come back easier. I think this is going to be one of those that I remember.
Like I could reread this or listen to it again.
I'm actually glad. Yeah, I'm actually glad that I've got the paper version of it, so I can go back. So
yeah, no, I enjoyed it also. I was glad to get your cheerleading, but it was like unputdownable because
I started it and I really liked it.
Flying.
And Anne was like, I haven't started yet. And I was like, what? You're gonna love
it. Time has been flying by. So what have you guys read this month?
I have read nothing else because I feel like it took me the whole month to get through this book.
That's fair. It was long.
It wasn't even that. I think it was 14 hours.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I like spread it out pretty evenly throughout the month. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's a busy month, right?
It is an insane time.
So I have not read anything else.
Okay, so let me go to my
Karen has a stack of books over there.
Some are good. Oh, I've got to put them in different
Did you
order.
read anything else?
Yes. Well, Karen and I share two books. One I can't remember the name of because I haven't finished it, so I don't know if it'll stay on your list. Because we were both here sewing with great intensity. And I don't think we talked about these yet.
No, we haven't.
So it turns out like Grady Hendrix, not every one of his books. He's the one who wrote Horror Store that I talked about last month.
Mm-hmm.
Like almost all of his book list is for free on Audible.
Oh.
And so...
well, at least they were for that time.
They're still available.
They're still available? Yeah. Oh, go read them.
While we were both sewing here one night, getting ready for the boutique, we listened to We All Sold Our Souls. And it was so good. It's about, like, an old death metal band.
It was so good.
And, like, their lives after their band broke up. And one of them's, like, extremely successful. And the other four... have like one of them's lives is wrecked. She's the main character, and the other three sort of have like kind of nice lives, not extreme.
We sold our souls.
Just nice lives. One of them has an extremely nice life, but that's another part of the selling of the soul.
Yeah,
and just they're fulfilling this prophecy that it turns out they like figured out basically what the oh gosh, I can't think of it. Like fill in the Illuminati, like basically what is the Illuminati in this story and how to fight them. And it's all about playing the right song. And I don't know anything about death metal. It's not music that generally appeals to me.
Mm-mm.
But I love this book so much.
I love everything by Grady Hendrix.
It's so just far, so good.
Because
two
it's
for
horror
two
with humor.
It's 2 for 2. It's very endearing. His main characters are really interesting. The expected does not happen. The gore is very gory, but it's not
unbearable.
It's not unbearable, and it's well done, and it's not pervasive. Like, the gore happens, and then you move forward. You're haunted by the gore, but you keep the story moving forward, and it's not around every corner. So that was a very fun book. I like the ending. I think Karen wanted more from the ending.
Yeah. But we also listened to Horror Store.
You listened to it. Oh. I started it on my own because I was like, how fun. It's free. Yeah. And I enjoy this book. Uh-huh. The other thing I read has nothing to do with the shared listening time. Kevin and I have a couple of favorite books. One we listened to with our whole family, and then we took a short trip together, and so we excluded the kids from the second book. The World Record Book of Racist Stories by Lacey Lamar and Amber Ruffin. They are sisters. Amber Ruffin, you might know from Seth Meyers' Late Night. Yeah. She is hilarious.
Oh, I follow her, yeah. What's it called?
This is their second book. Uh-huh. The World Record Book of Racist Stories. So the first book is, I want to make sure I have it right. I think it's called You Wouldn't Believe This Happened to Lacey. You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey. And that's about a 4 or 5 hour audiobook, and of course a published book, that is just all stories of things that have happened to Lacey Lamar and people around her, but mostly Lacey, while living in Omaha, Nebraska, which is where their family was born and raised. And then this is a continuation, but they bring in stories from their family and friends. It's a little less lighthearted than the first one, if you can imagine that these books are lighthearted. Mm-hmm. But they are fantastic. Every human being should listen to them. And these two women are incredibly talented comedians and writers. Every human being should listen to these books. The end.
Well, that is a glowing review.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And they're bite-sized. Like, the first one we listened to on a family trip over a weekend, it's 5 hours and 21 minutes. So on the way there, we were driving around during the trip, and on the way home, it fit perfectly. I think we were like half an hour away from home, and we were finishing it. And then this one was actually only 3 hours and something. I'm sorry, 4 hours and 54 minutes. And it fit perfectly in our trip, too. They're fantastic. And just interesting because it's a very different place than we live in. It's almost direct middle of the country. Their family is made of all kinds of... There's 5 kids, I think. And their parents are delightful, exemplary, wonderful parents. Everyone should be so lucky to have the parents that these two women have. They're still living. And it's just an interesting insight of, you just really wouldn't believe that these things really happened to this woman. But there's no shortage of stories. I think they could probably write books for decades. Just have continuous flow of content.
Wow.
Sadly. That's all. That's all that I read.
Thanks. Go last since I have a pile.
I've already gone.
She read the book club book. She came prepared and ready to talk.
So I was waiting for a long time for a sequel to The City We Became. By N.K. Jemisin, which the sequel is called The World We Make, and it kind of expands that kind of idea. That was really good. I did that one together, and then I listened and I read The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, and it's one of those books that I heard someone talking about on NPR, and it's spicy. It is spicy. Okay, I just want to read this a little bit. The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, and it's not a particularly thick book, by Disha Filia. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Filia.
It explores the raw and tender places where Black women and girls dare to follow their desires and pursue a momentary reprieve from being good. The 9 stories in this collection feature 4 generations of characters grappling with who they want to be in the world, caught as they are between the church's double standards and their own needs and passions. There's a lot more to it, but it's
capital P with passions.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. The characters are very relatable. They're so that's The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Another book is a graphic novel, but it's a non-fiction graphic novel, which is a really interesting way to. It's called Wake: The Hidden History of Women-Led Slave Revolts, and it's kind of the story of. It's by Rebecca Hall, who is a scholar, activist, and educator. And it's a graphic novel in black and white, just like rough sketches. But it's kind of the story of how she is trying to find many of the women who were slaves coming across the on slave ships. It was very often that slave revolts happened on the way as well as here while they were here. Mm-hmm. So it's just. What's really interesting is some of the records of some of this stuff goes back to courthouses that existed as courthouses before the Revolutionary War. And some of the records are still there. Some of the stuff you have to read between the lines a little bit, right. I think, because not like there's going to be a lot of truth about.
I say the victor tells the history.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it's really, really well done. And she makes a good point that oral history is still a valid history.
Absolutely.
So it's just a really interesting way to get a nonfiction, a nonfiction story, but in a graphic novel form. What else? I did that. I thought I had more. The Secret Lives of Church, The World We Make. The Comeback. Did we read that together? By Lily Chu?
No, you read it and highly recommended it.
Oh, yeah. It's narrated by Philippa Sue. So that was really, really excellent. The Comeback by
Wait, no, that was one that we were listening to.
You and I were listening to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Which I have not finished.
Okay.
I need to write it down because actually I think it was only in your library.
The Comeback by Lily Chu. I think it's another one of those freebies.
Yes,
I thought it was another one of those. Because as long as we were here, we even though you imagine 2 sewing machines going, we had the little what do you call that thing? The speaker, class speaker was like on max.
Sometimes I come in on Tuesdays and I like turn on the speaker to like play whatever it is we're listening to for drop in, and it is at full blast. And I'm like, somebody had a great time last night.
Sorry.
I always know who it is.
Right.
I'm like, what was Anne listening to at full volume?
So a book.
Yeah,
because
that's fine.
The music I don't need at full volume, but the book I do.
Those are
I don't care.
Okay.
Those were books that I finished. Are there any books that we're currently reading that you would recommend? Because I know I've got just a couple, but
you know what I discovered about that is you don't get the payoff of saying I now finished this book.
Yeah, we usually just do books we finished because you can save those for next
because
month.
I talked about my Christmas romances last time. It's like, but now I want to count that as done.
Yeah.
No, I already talked about it.
I'm more than halfway, so
yeah.
I'll
so
save
you get
that.
to tell us about it when you finish it.
Yeah, save that for next month.
That looks like a whole series. Are they just similar?
A couple. There's 2 that are together, but they're not.
We're just gonna have to stay tuned.
Well, it's Karen's turn to pick what we are reading. So what are we reading?
Okay. I'm reading a book by Kim Michelle Richardson. Is what I would like us to read. I got one book called The Bookwoman's Daughter. And it's by the author of The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek, which they're 2 different stories of the same area, but they're not necessarily sequels. They're not.
They don't like call back.
No.
Are there treats if you read one and then the other?
I don't know. It didn't sound like it. It sounded like they're separate.
So which one are we reading? We are
going to be reading the second one, which is The Bookwoman's Daughter. The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek I got so I could read that later. And I'll talk about that next month. But this one is, let me read the back. In the ruggedness of the beautiful Kentucky mountains, Honey Lovett has always known that the old ways can make a hard life harder. As the daughter of the famed blue-skinned Troublesome Creek pack horse librarian, me and librarians, Honey and her family have been hiding from the law all her life. But when her mother and father are imprisoned, Honey realizes she must fight to stay free or risk being sent away for good. Picking up her mother's old pack horse library route, Honey begins to deliver books to the remote hollers, that's what it says, of Appalachia. Honey is looking to prove that she doesn't need anyone to tell her how to survive, but the route can be treacherous, and some folks aren't as keen to let a woman pave her own way. If Honey wants to bring the freedom books provide to the families who need it most, she's going to have to fight for her place, and along the way, learn that the extraordinary women who run the hills and hollers can make all the difference in the world. So I thought it'd be interesting to have a little story, here in Appalachia.
Cool. I don't think we've been to that region much.
Of Kentucky.
We know.
So
it'll probably make me hanker to watch, what's that Timothy Oliphant show I love?
I don't know.
Has 4 seasons. I think I never watched the last season. What is that called? He's a ranger. He's from Appalachia, but they're filming in Fillmore.
What?
I don't know.
We ought to know this.
Oh, people at
film
home are
everything in
screaming the
Fillmore.
answer. Oh yeah, everything.
So let me see. Timothy Oliphant is in. I don't know.
How do you know it's filmed in Fillmore? Because you recognize
everything is filmed in Fillmore.
Because like you'd recognize it. It's not like as obvious as some other shows.
A lot of things are filmed in Santa Paula ever since they were.
This show's done.
So
he's from Kentucky.
No, he's not.
His character.
The character.
It's not Kentucky necessarily. Let me see the list.
Yeah,
Sorry.
here's the list. We're gonna figure this out.
Justified.
Oh, okay.
Justified. Oh. Yeah.
I don't know what that's about. So.
He's from Modesto, and he was in my cousin's graduating class from the high school they went to.
Modesto.
So is the guy who plays Hawkeye. I'm sorry, he plays Hawkeye. He's like 2 years younger.
I could see him being from
my
Modesto,
other cousin's cousin.
actually, having grown up in the Fresno and north of that, the Friant area.
Do you know that he has a glamour music career?
He's in like a glam rock?
No,
like
by
music.
glamour I mean like glamour publishing. He like supports his own music.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner is a fascinating person because he also had his
I don't know
own...
in a good way though.
No, he had his own social media network for a minute. I think he has a Amazon store where he was selling just camping gear that he recommended. And there's all kinds of just like weird things about like Jeremy Renner's career that it's like, why would anybody want to buy that?
I know.
Why would anybody want to pay for that?
But was he doing that to get by when actors couldn't act during the pandemic?
No,
he's just a weirdo.
Now that he's like has some pop. I mean, a lot of people have those Amazon stores of like, this is the thing I think is great.
But it was like weird vibes because it's all like him being very serious, like posing like I'm camping, and it's like okay, and like also recommending like bows and arrows and stuff. It's like we get it, you're Hawkeye.
But
and his weird music career.
Modesto is the gateway to Yosemite from that side.
Okay,
so is it Modesto and Madera? Yeah, so there's that camping, it's hunting. There's that.
It's not Fresno. It's Modesto essentially.
North Fresno, that Friant area. It's all hunting wild people back there.
Hunting wild people.
Hunting,
wild people.
I grew up in a trailer park up there, so
I have family from there. Obviously, my cousins went to school with these actors.
Yeah, his official mobile app was just called Jeremy Renner, and it divulged. It was sort of like a Twitter-esque thing where it's like if you were a fan of Jeremy Renner, you could subscribe to this app. But it divulged into just like complete trolling and like memes, and they had to like shut it down after 6 months.
I didn't know about
who wants this? And it was like either like trolls or like 50-year-old moms who were like, I love Jeremy Renner, that are like in this group, and it's like it was very strange.
It's not Cougar Town. He is about 50.
Yeah, no, it was probably age appropriate, but
because I can't remember if he's a year older or younger than my brother. My brother is 51 now, so it's not Cougar Town.
Okay.
It's High School Reunion Town.
Yeah, High School Reunion Town. But that sounds sad. That's just sad.
Also, the Property Brothers.
Oh, yeah, they do. And they have that one weird brother.
Oh.
All right,
which one's the weird one?
He's not on TV.
Yeah.
He's is not one of the Property Brothers. There are 3 Property Brothers. Only 2 of them are, I think, on television.
I did not know.
But they do have a illustrious musical career.
Are they triplets?
Illustrious.
Yeah.
Illustrious.
Okay,
No,
so
Okay.
yeah, no, I don't know any. They think they're illustrious, I think.
Yes, they do. They do.
Okay, well, I think that is it for us today. So we will see y'all in a month when we talk about Karen's book choice, The Bookwoman's Daughter by Kim Michelle Richardson. And in the meantime, we will have a new podcast episode up in January, coming out on January 3rd. And we will have a very big announcement in that episode. So if you were listening to this in December, make sure you stay tuned and listen to our January episode so that you can find out what we're talking about. And in the meantime,
I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I think it's going to be awesome.
So if you don't already, follow us all the places.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Not Twitter.
We don't.
I don't have a Twitter. I don't know why I said that. Instagram, Facebook, website, all that good stuff. And sign up for our newsletter.
On our newsletter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Strings Unraveled is a production of Strings and Things Studio with Anne Leckervin-Cazzoli, Katie Von Rader-Fraker, and Karen Wilmoth. Recorded and edited by Katie Von Rader-Fraker. Find us online at stringsandthingsstudio.com or on Facebook or Instagram at Strings and Things Studio. You can email us at stringsandthingsinfo@gmail.com.